I've got a problem with Astro Bot, and I think I made a mistake last video, so I want to be clear. Astro Bot and Silksong are amazingly fun and well-designed games. One's obviously much more difficult than the other, but I recommend both. I need to improve the hospitality of my language, but just because I criticize a game doesn't mean I think it's bad, and I hope people understand this without a preface every single time. If y'all have any suggestions regarding this, I'd be happy to hear them. But anyway, we already poked at Silksong, so it's time to poke at Astro Bot for something that's been on my mind for a while. Let's set the stage.
Boom.
Particular machine.
You boot up Astro Bot and start hopping around these creative levels. The PS5 controller is making funny noises, you are tasked with continually varied challenges while awash with colorful visuals, and if you're starting to have a good time, like me, you really want to explore every nook and cranny of this game. You quickly discover secret areas, challenge rooms, even the world map has secrets baked in, which is always a good way to utilize the unique medium of video games. Give your level selector menus fun quirks, it's amazing when games do this. Okay, so everything is great. World after world, the game evolves its initial hook while adding new gameplay elements to mix things up. When I finally beat the final boss and rounded out all the collectibles with loads of extra content to challenge me further, I was satisfied. Though I still felt the mechanics were a slight bit underutilized, but not every game has to be Dark Souls. Get over it, I thought. The game has plenty. Well, turns out the developers felt the same, because soon enough they announced that DLC would be metal ball rolling to Astro Bot. And this DLC would be free, which is very yeehaw, but also would have a primary focus of challenging players with more difficult platforming. Booyah. When the multiple free DLCs came out, I fervently gobbled them up. Except this motion control speedrun nonsense. The funny noises were back, the challenge was amped up while retaining the Astro Bot creative watermark, the visuals were colorful as ever. But hold on, something's missing. Where are the secrets? Where were the hidden areas found only by a discerning eye? Where are the bots struggling in the distance that I need to rummage around for a path to? Sure, the Ho 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 extra had some of that, but the difficult DLC, both Time Town and Vicious Void, no secrets to be found. Is this a disservice to players? No. The one vacancy Astro Bot had was in its challenge, and the DLC 100% remedies that missing piece. But why do challenge DLCs keep dropping exploration from games clearly benefiting off adventure? Let's be clear, this is not just Astro Bot. Shadow of the Erdtree sort of has this problem, with Abyssal Woods being the primary example. DK Island in Bonanza definitely has this issue, with the new Bonandium gems literally non-existent unless you're playing the new roguelike mode. Next video is on this DLC, by the way. But it's not just DLC. Endgame challenges like to do this too. Darker Side is an incoherent conglomerate of platforms in a final challenging gauntlet. Super Mario 3D World has some new levels in the finale, but often opts to reuse old stages with a new twist. And other games still don't remove secrets entirely, but water them down significantly. Is this a disservice? Again, no. Offering a final challenge is a great way to reward players who've stuck through your game to the very end. As much as Darker Side is weird, I would absolutely rather have this than nothing at all. The game is better for Darker Side. Okay, so then who cares? Why are we talking about this? Well, because my goal isn't to hold developers hostage or create outrage. My goal is to offer suggestions, to overall make gaming a richer place, and to have an excuse to talk about cool games, right? So it's not a problem to make endgame content streamlined and focused difficulty. But part of the reason I vibed so well with your game in the first place was the exploration. Sure, the platforming is fun, but what's even more fun is noticing something aberrant and being rewarded with more platforming. Let's ignore the practical reason for a second. Optional challenges are obviously placed in games, so players don't need to do absolutely everything to progress. Lowers possible frustration while giving avid treasure hunters something extra to do. So let's assume I did want to do everything in-game, and I wouldn't be frustrated by being forced to do so. If you took all the optional challenges and lined them up in a single row, I would like Astro Bot much less. Every bit of platforming is the same, but I wouldn't have any practical reason to appreciate your environment, and gameplay would just start to meld into a big old goop in my mind. Sure, I should be appreciative of the cute little details regardless of if it has a reward attached to it. But again, exploration is not a requirement, rather it can enhance your game and better round out sharp edges that might otherwise scare players off. So if Astro Bot, if any developers end up crafting a system that really elevates the gaming experience, why would you choose not to include it in your DLC? Well, I can think of two primary reasons. One, you just want to try something different, which, fair enough. The DLC in Astro Bot has a focus on speedrunning, as it logs your completion time and pits you against other players on a leaderboard. Speedrunning doesn't work as well if there are momentum-halting secrets sprinkled around the obstacle course. Which, yeah man, I sure like sprinkles. Delicious sprinkles. Ooh, the sound effects, the tactile feedback. 2. Adding exploration is resource intensive. I noted that a lot of these extra stages reuse elements from the base game, which I'm all for. Anything to make development easier to get the fans some challenging extra bonus content. That's actually one of the main benefits of DLC, I feel. Players already got the main course. Dessert can be cobbled together with assets on main because that's often precisely what DLC enjoyers are looking for. The novelty is still fresh. It just desires a sandbox where it's more fully utilized. In that vein, developers might not either have or care to use time and resources to carefully carve out the same level of detail from the main game. Not always necessary or not always feasible. That's likely why Shadow of the Erdtree has so much empty space. Ideally it's filled to the brim, but that might not be in the cards. But here's where I interject, and where Shadow of the Erdtree's situation in particular feels kinda weird. Several comments noted in my Arcade 2 video how Super Mario Sunshine Arcade 2 would have made for a great DLC, and I agree. In many ways, it reinterprets assets into new challenges like Astro Bot's DLC. But here's the funny thing. Arcade 2 takes the cheapest, quickest, simplest path to adding exploration. Add a single blue coin to every stage. Sometimes there's an extra bit of platforming, or sometimes it's just hiding behind an awkward camera angle. I adore this, it's awesome! Super Mario Sunshine is so much better because of these stupid little blue coins hiding everywhere, but I doubt it took much effort to add them at all. Shadow of the Erdtree sort of gets this. There are neat little collectibles strewn all over the world, some very inexpensive. They could have easily doubled the amount of Shadow Tree fragments. I think this is a sign of restraint from the developers. They didn't want to cheapen the value of the collectible or make it too tedious to run around and find them all. Probably the right call. But the unfortunate side effect is that the world is more barren than the base game. But Astro Bot doesn't have anything of the sort. I think this is in part because the hidden bots in the main game were all carefully tailored experiences that would require more intensive implementation and clash with the speedrunning vision. But something like the blue coin mechanic could have easily been implemented. Sure, you would have to create a new, unfamiliar mechanic, but what? Color the regular coins green, add a simple counter in one of the corners, and place a simple tutorial to teach players what the coins do. Boom, done. You could even have 2 speedrun modes for each course. One without collecting any green coins, and one that does. And I came up with this idea in 10 minutes. Of course, there could be more interesting ideas, but my petition to developers is just to add some exploration into your challenging endgame content, especially if the main game does this already. There's low-hanging fruit with an insane cost-value potential that would be a huge boon to players like me. I know the green stars in Super Mario Galaxy are implemented poorly. They're really annoying if you're just trying to wrap things up, but the value added by a simple star recolor is well worth the trade-off, I think. Also, the negatives can be reduced. If the green stars didn't kick you out after grabbing every single one, that alone would improve a lot. And there's one more point from me. I find it frustrating that it seems games like to focus on either exploration or difficulty, but not both at the same time. I know it's niche, I know that lowers the chance of being discovered, but I really like secrets that are engaging to figure out and engaging to get to. When I conquer a secret that entwines both really well, those are my favorite. Thanks for watching. If you liked any ideas in this video and want them explored more, let me know. The videos on this second channel are deliberately shorter to help me hone my craft, so I'd be happy to dive deeper on any topics that stick out to y'all. I can't always respond, but I read most of the comments. If you're respectful, I'm listening. See you next time. Donkey Kong is up next.